All right, so let me say hello and welcome everyone. Doug here with thelincolnlist.com. Welcome to another daily edition of Stock Market Mutterings, where I always say I'll take a grope in the murkiness, try to make some sense out of this market. And man, it'd be tough. It'd be tough trying to make some sense out of this thing, huh? Whew. But I'm going to try to find you guys some quality trade setups. That's my job. And if you've been following since we've done this daily one, we had some good ones. We have Tesla, T-Doc, Netflix, ZM, Roku, Peloton, Baba. All these were trades we talked about. Docu, how could I forget Docu? Turned into some really good ones. And I'll tell you what we got in store for you today. I got one here that's really sweet looking. I mean, really, really good looking. And we really should focus on this, you day traders out there, swing traders alike too. Really should be looking at this stock. I'm going to talk about it. It's not a secret. Most of you might already see it, but I'm going to share with you some thoughts, how I see it. Now, I always want to do these unscripted and uncut. The purpose of this is not just to talk about stocks, but to share my feelings about what it's like to live like a trader. And this is what you're getting right here. Sweats. This is how I live. This is the look of a day trader right here. And this is actually good. I cleaned myself up before getting on camera because it was a lot worse, but this is just, it's a cool way to live, huh? In your PJs. This is like the modern day suit, which is always kind of funny because if you've ever seen those like TD Ameritrade commercials, they always got the guy in the office, he's trading, right? And he's dressed really nice. He's like khaki pants with a button-up shirt. He's got a pair of glasses on. It's like bookshelf behind him and stuff, right? They always show it. It's like they've got some like really clean office. This is the office of a day trader. Look, I got crap laying everywhere, guitars, motorcycles, food. Man, I tell you what, I'm just living the dream, ain't I? Living the dream. So what we're going to do is we'll go over the trades we talked about yesterday. Let me get you off with a selfie stick here, or reduce this. I'll put you down over this way. And then let's see what we can come up with. Now, I want to go over what we were talking about yesterday. And I want to give you guys a little bit more in-depth glimpse of how I trade. I'm not saying this is the right way for you, because it might not be. You might not like it at all, you know? And that's cool. Everybody's got to kind of find their own way with this thing, and that's just how you do it. And like I said, I like to look for strong stocks, and I like for them to fade into support. And today, that's exactly what I got with Nvidia. Now, I made a couple of mistakes here that I'll talk to you about when I'm really focusing, like we say all the time in the room, idea, execution, and management. So if you guys are ever listening at the same time, you're struggling with your trading, I want you to remember those three things. Idea, execution, management. It's in my free DVD. Maybe I'll post a link there. Idea, execution, and management. You need to do good on all of those. So the idea and execution was good, but I kind of screwed a little bit of the management, which cost me towards the end. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. So I was looking at this Nvidia, and I was just kind of looking for levels. So once we began with a pretty, I don't want to say decent sell-off, but we started to get some pullback in names. I don't want to buy things at the high of day. That's not how I roll. I'm not saying it doesn't work for people, but that's not what I do. And I look for stuff like this. So I'm going back into Nvidia. You'll see I have this 273.82 right here, which is the lows from the previous day. This is how I work off of it. I got some lows right here. And then I got another pivot like right here, which is a early morning low. And then you got this low right here. So as it opened, we came in and we touched that first low right here on Nvidia, which was this one little small pivot right here, second 5-minute candle, roughly 275.88. Now, I normally like to go in there, and I go in with a starter position, and then I work off of the bottom, the low lows. So here's one thing that you might run into and how I cured a problem that I had. If you always wait for the perfect setup, you miss a lot of setups, right? Sometimes you just miss them and you always kick yourself later and go, oh man, I should have done it. I should have done it. And I had that problem too. And a lot of times they don't make it down to that big level of support. They don't give you that A+ look that you really, really want. So what I like to do sometimes is, let's say, for example, I want to do 300 shares. If I got the perfect setup, I'm just using this as an example. I want to do 300 shares at the perfect setup. In a situation like this, I would probably just go in like half of that, 150, maybe 100. And then if it drops down to that low, add at that point. Now this does a couple of things for you. Number one is if it spikes, goes vertical, rips, you at least got something. You might not get rich on that trade, but you've got something on the table for that stock. And if it goes down lower, you're like good. Now I can get full size. So see how this works? See how this works subconsciously? You get into the trade, you win-win. You either get a bounce and you make money on it right away and you're happy, or it sells off, which is secretly what you wanted to do, so you can double down at a better level of support and make more money. So it's a win-win. So when it starts going down, you don't panic. You don't get afraid. You're like, good, this is how you're going to roll. Then this is how we're going to play the game. So this did exactly, this is a beautiful chart, beautiful. Comes down here, bases, grinds its way back up. All the way back up into the gap and almost green. This was sweet. Textbook. This is my favorite. I often call this the check mark pattern. People went to the mini camps know this, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Just a slight drop in and then right back up. You know, just like that. Down and up. So you'll see that right here. Down. I'm making a mess out of this. And right back up. Like a check mark, right? Check mark pattern. So, hashtag check mark. Good one. Hashtag check mark pattern. We're not going to get it trending. There's only like 5 people watching this. So anyway, where I made the mistake with this one is as we started to roll over a little bit later in the day, I should have sold it. I gave back like an entire dollar here of my gains and sold it to close. I should have gotten rid of it a little bit later, but the way things were going, I expected it. But that's okay. I mean, you live, you learn. Some days you've got it, some days you don't. It was a winner, and I'll take it. Same way with the SPY. It was a good one there, too. It was looking for the same sort of scenario here. You got a dirty check mark, let's call it, but it came down, you know, found a base, and then just starts rifling back up. Kind of the same way as Nvidia. It took a little bit longer, but it built a nice base sitting down here off this 275.69 and then started to ramp up. And once we got this second wave, that's kind of why I kept Nvidia too. I was thinking these are just going to grind out and maybe go green and then plug in a couple dollars on top of it. Remember when I talked about the last couple of days of alpha? This is how you do it. So when you're looking at a stock and it's a $10 mover to the upside, like a Nvidia, if it goes red $5, you can buy it at the lows, have it trade back to green where you get $5 and then tack on maybe 10 more. That's like a $15 winner. Those are the things I look for, especially in markets like this. It doesn't always work that way, but that's the theory behind it, rather than stampeding and taking the crowded trade at high of day where most breakout traders are. I don't like it. Maybe it works for you, but I don't. So same situation here. I should have sold this, and it made a difference because I had a few hundred shares on each. So that was like, you know, $500-600 I left on the table there. And that's why I talk about idea, execution, and management, guys. And this is what I'm talking about. The idea was great. And the execution was great. The entry prices on both of those were really, really good. I was patient. I waited, and I got a right price. So the idea that I had when I started pre-market, we said if they sell off to these levels, I'm a buyer. That's what happened. And the execution was good because once that happened, I executed and I got them at that rate. But then later on, I should have been a little bit more diligent about taking some of that off. I should have, you know, pulled back pretty aggressively there late. And that's the way it goes. But wins are wins. I'll take it. All greens this week. I'm going to keep going. Now I want to talk to you about, we got to look at this stock, man. You guys know what it is? Lulu. Lululemon. We have got to look at this stock. Look at this thing. Now, here's what I want you to look at. Look at this daily. I think I talked about this one yesterday. I don't remember. I might have wrote it down. I think I did talk about this yesterday. And I didn't get any of this one today. But this daily chart is nice. It closed just right above like a stretched out double top going all the way back to March 25th. March 25th. This is a big range break and free and clear of resistance basically now till 234. So we're talking $30 of upside to play with. It won't probably do that all in one day. I doubt that. But this is a hell of a close. Not only that, guys, it's the action within this type of a stock, what you're looking for. Not just technical analysis, but you're looking at gut feelings and relative strength against the market. This is a stock that was already strong, poised to break out. Then it held support, and it did that same thing like Nvidia. It just took off. I mean, they bought the whole dip. That is aggressive, strong dip buying in that name, driving it back up over the high. So here's what you had. A stock that was ready to break out, rejects the breakout, rolls back over, and then there you go. There you go, right back up to I like this stock. Cause it looks good. I mean, it's just lined up perfect. Does that mean it'll work perfect? No, no, but hey, that looks really good. I hope you guys make some money on this one if it sets up right. So of course, what I would like to happen is I would like for it to pull back a tiny bit, maybe back to 206, 205. I don't know if that's going to happen, but 206, 205, a nice little fade in the morning, maybe a tiny little gap down if possible. I think that's great. And that would be a more aggressive stance for me. If it gaps up, which is why I hate gap ups, it's going to kind of ruin the play, at least temporarily. Doesn't mean it won't go higher, but I'll have to wait for a moment and let things settle down. Because like this is what Lulu does when it gaps up. You know, you get a gap up here, and then it just ramp and camps. Or here's a gap up, and it pulled back a little bit, maybe to give you an opportunity a little later in the day. So first scenario would be a press down towards this direction. I'll draw the chart out for you how I think I see it. Maybe it comes back down, bases around the 204, 205, pulls the old check mark, just cleans out 210. That would be scenario number one. The next is if it goes vertical like this in the morning, you have to wait either for a pullback, then a re-gear, or if you just do the ramp and camp, screw that. It's not a trade. I just have to go find something else because I think the value will be zapped out of it there. So I think 210, 215 is possible on it. So you don't have any till 230. Won't do that tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. But it could be a multi-day play where you're just pounding on it over and over again like we've been doing DOCU. You know, that's what you're looking for. So you guys want to do it, you look for stocks like DOCU that are in upward trajectories, accumulation patterns, where all the dips are getting bought, and you look to buy dips if you're not swing trading it. It's a good strategy to use. Another one, we're going back to Baba Booey. Did you a little check mark here. King Baba. He is a mighty king. He is my one true king, Baba. My King Baba. Oh, I love this stock. I really love this stock. It's back up here too. Same thing. Would love to see a little early morning test down around the VWAP here, 206. Check mark me back to 210s. We're talking 210s. We can collect 210 tomorrow on Baba and Lulu. Huh? Sweet, huh? Same scenario with Lulu. Gap ups, flags. I'll have to wait it out. It got me last time because it had the same type of setup, but it just gapped up above that right here. And I hope that doesn't do it. I hope we get a little bit of a fade in there, providing that something disastrous doesn't happen tomorrow where the market just collapses, limits down, some crazy stuff like that. So those two I really like. Want to also look at somebody I don't like. I don't really like TSLA. You probably can figure out why, because man, I tell you what, I don't know if I've watched a stock more than TSLA and had like little success with this stock. Is just, it's a prick. We all got those, right? We all stocks are like, God, I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. There must be a lack of other things to talk about today to where I've got you talking into TSLA. But really nice chart here too. Same thing, maybe looking for some dips in there. Here's another one, just dips galore. Down in here, these checkmark patterns are just everywhere. Just good setups here. Same thing. Just looking for some of the stuff to pull back. Now, again, I want to keep the same names on the lists here. And that's any kind of consolidation dip, late day rallies, ramps, runs. I think they're too high right now to get aggressive. And, well, maybe that's not the right word. You can get aggressive if the risk is right. But like swing trading, holding them overnight, feeling really comfortable about the levels. They're short-term overbought, but that doesn't mean they're not going to go straight down and just dive. I don't see that happening in these names I'm giving you. I've talked about some of these in the last market mutterings, but that list for me is ZM right now, Roku with a really good looking chart, Peloton, and DOCU. Yeah, these are the trades I'm really like. They're up here on the list all the time. That means if you wake up and there's a $5 gap down on DOCU, I'm buying that thing. Not just randomly, but I'd be looking to buy that because I don't think it's just going to sell bell to bell. That's not kind of the action we're going to see in that name, but I like it. So in a review, just basically this week, I haven't really caught big days yet. I've only had one day over $1,000. The other two have been 700 and like a six something today. So yeah, I'm in there. That's all right though. It's consistency. That's what does it. You're going to have days where you got to take what the market can give you. That's the way it is for a trader. Sometimes you get it good, sometimes you don't. You just take what it is. It's one day at a time. You just literally live one day at a time, one trade at a time, one pattern at a time, and you just claw your way at it. There's none of this overnight bullshit millionaire, I'm making 10 million on a trade garbage. It's a grind, man. If you want to be here for the long run, you got to condition yourself for the grind. So that's what we're going to do. And eventually we're going to walk into something really nice here this week and get a hold of the big move. They're out there. I haven't gotten on board with them the way I should, but we're going to do it, man. And really, we've got it. Lulu's got to be number one on the list tomorrow. We have got to be looking at Lulu tomorrow. Right? So I'm going to leave it right there. Keep it nice, short, and sweet for today. As always, you guys have questions, concerns, quarrels, curmudgeons, whatever you want to shoot my way, send it to support@thelincolnlist.com. Follow me on Twitter at The Lincoln List. Follow me on StockTwits, The Lincoln List. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Chat with me. Talk to me. Let me hear your thoughts and feelings, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you tomorrow.